What's indeed going on, Jerome? So after the Vikings parted ways with Alexander Madison, it is Ty Chandler's season as the RB1 for the Vikings. Improved in pass protection, dynamic out of the backfield. I think that he can be a true blue 3-down back and a home run threat every time he touches the rock. And yeesh, I understand. It's like, well, I don't care about fantasy football. I play real football, bro. So yes, fantasy football is great, but hey, this player will put up stats and touchdowns, and that will help my team win. So yeah, Ty Chandler is going to be that RB1, and also it isn't really in Kwesi's DNA to be paying big money for the running back position. You saw when they parted ways with Dalvin Cook. You saw with the minimal contract with Alexander Madison, which they still cut anyway. But the Vikings should supplement Ty Chandler a little bit with some depth as well as some different style of running back. If you catch my drift. And yes, this draft class is going to be replete with running backs, and the Vikings, I mean, they're set up pretty good where they do have 7 day 3 selections, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6, and a 7, so that they could and should add at running back there. But this free agent class, I feel like people aren't talking about this free agent running back class enough because it is historic. There's dudes there who still have some prime years left, big time names, and it's a result of the NFL devaluing the running back position, and also in a cruel twist of fate, the fact that there's so many players out there in free agency, it could lower demand. It could lower the prices that they will get in terms of free agent contracts because there's so many of them. All right, so it's a really interesting caveat. And yes, Saquon not being tagged, the dream is still alive, as well as, of course, Josh Jacobs. So I feel like my edit of Josh Jacobs is just as good or better than Eli Corbett's, our boy. It's good times, man. But yeah, the Vikings should consider taking part in the running back class. We want to highlight 4 of them in order, well, maybe not in order of importance, but in order of come on, man. So first up, just glancing at this class again: Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, 2022 rushing champ; Saquon Barkley, former top 5 pick of the Giants; Tony Pollard, franchise tag last year. I don't know what happened to Tony Pollard, man. When Zeke was, it's almost like he needed Zeke just to like prove the haters wrong or whatever. But you can make a good case that Tony Pollard was the Cowboys' best running back the final 3 seasons that Zeke was there. It's crazy. But once Tony Pollard got the RB1 job, it was just a wrap. It was finito. Eckler's aged out. Cordero, I'll always love Cordero, but I feel like the one thing that Arthur Smith got right is that he used Cordero properly. It's crazy, man. Just put him in the backfield, give him the ball. That's all that it takes. Gus Bus is out there. Madison is now out there. Zeke Elliott. So Zeke actually had himself a decent season in New England as the RB2 with Stevenson there. Devin Singletary from the Texans. I kind of like Singletary. We didn't list him here because we're going to do a separate video on him, but I kind of like him, even though there's a lot of overlap between what Singletary and Ty Chandler does. Clyde, former first-round pick, the running back for Justin Jefferson, not Joe Burrow, not Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson's 2019 LSU Tigers. Dante Foreman is there. Boston Scott, the third-down machine from the Eagles. Damian Harris. Amir Abdullah still doing the damn thing. It feels all right. So Amir Abdullah is only 30. It feels like he left the Vikings 12 years ago, and he was a second-round pick by the Lions. Back when Dick Night Train Lane was in the league. By the way, we don't do nicknames like we used to do. Sad. Cam Akers, unfortunately, coming off that second Achilles. I don't know. Dario Ngumbawale. I mean, if you don't sign him as a running back, you can sign him as a kicker. There you go. Salvon Ahmed, formerly of the Dolphins. J.K. Dobbins trying to come back from his third injury. The speedy Matt Breida is still out there. Kareem Hunt is looking for a new home. Rashad Penny, former first-round pick. A.J. Dillon, Quadzilla. Jarrett Jet McKinnon. Woo. Yeah. Probably not. Latavius Murray. We could get the 2017 backfield back together, man. All right, so remember, 2017, Dalvin tore his ACL in like game 6, and McKinnon and Murray were a nice 1-2 punch at running back with Case Keenum. He was good. Antonio Gibson. Every single year, it's going to be this is the season for Antonio Gibson in fantasy. It just never works out. Dearness Johnson, who, I mean, he's filled in great. When Nick Chubb went down, Kareem Hunt was out. I mean, Dearness Johnson, I mean, maybe. Zach Moss, a guy who filled in very nicely for Jonathan Taylor Thomas last year. Frankly, he looked like the best Indianapolis running back. We didn't include him, but we're going to do a separate video on him. Ty Johnson's out there, Marlon Mack. I mean, all these names. All these names are insane, man. How's Lim Bowden still in the league? I don't know, man. Eno Benjamin, Raheem Blackshear. Well, why not? All right, so yes, it is a very good. Ooh, the ads. Ooh, Adidas spikes. It is baseball season. I don't play baseball though. Oh, hold on. I feel like slow pitch softball is basically like a bowling league but outdoors. Like it's supposed to be a social thing. I feel like if you're wearing spikes for a slow pitch softball league, I feel like you take it too seriously. I don't know, man. Who knows, man? But to each their own. Anyways, I'm not trying to poo-poo on people's hobbies because I don't want people poo-pooing on my hobbies either. Actually, I have no hobbies. Sad. Anyways, but yeah, this running back class is going to be studly, man. And first up, I want to talk about Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry, market value calculation, $10.3 million, beep, bop, bop, oh, boop. And I know. I understand that his best days are behind him. I understand that Sean Alexander had a big-time fall-off. Maybe Derrick Henry's headed that way, but he is 30 in 69 days. Nice. He's a 2020 Offensive Player of the Year, 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, constantly flirting with the MVP, 6'3", 247. Also, if you want a treat, go look up Derrick Henry's high school highlights. It's insane. It's insane, man. But last season, 2023, the Titans' offense was a mess. But Henry still put up 1,167 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns, 4.2 yards per carry. By the way, so he is a power runner. That's it. He doesn't really give you much in the receiving game. He only has 3 receiving touchdowns in 8 seasons. And you think this is like, hey, off of play action, they're stacking the box, just leak them out. But is Derrick Henry the true RB1 bell cow guy anymore? No. Although some teams, I mean, like the Ravens, will sign him to try to get him to be, right? But could he be the guy who, I mean, maybe he's lost a step on the outside. He doesn't have the speed like he used to, which, by the way, him moving that quickly at 6'3", 247 is almost unfair. But could he still be that powerful inside the tackle runner? Yes. Could he be that short yardage goal line guy who pairs nicely with Ty Chandler in a little smash and dash pairing? Yes, I think he absolutely could. But is that worth $10.3 million? So every time I ask a question about the Vikings free agents, I always remember, oh yeah, we paid Marcus Davenport $13 million. and then I feel a lot better about life. Next up, so Josh Jacobs, market value 10.6. Now, quite a bit younger, is only 25, but 5'10", 223, two-time. Well, actually, he's 26 now. This is an older graphic. Anyways, he's 26. But 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, 2022 rushing champ. Now, the Raiders' offense was a mess last year. Jimmy G, Josh McDaniels for a hot second, it's whatever. But Jacobs did get some footing once Antonio Pierce took control because, hey, running the ball and giving the ball to your best player, makes sense. But 805 and 6 touchdowns last year, 3.5 yards per carry in 13 games. Yeah, he was dinged up at times. Now, SpotRack estimates his market value at $10.6 million with a 4-year, $42 million deal. I don't see that happening. With the market the way that it is, I could see Jacobs getting a 2-year deal. Maybe it's a 1-year prove-it deal. Who knows? But it sucks for the running backs, but that's the reality right now. Now, would I be more inclined to pay Josh Jacobs than Saquon? Slightly. I think Jacobs is a slightly better receiver than Saquon, but we're really splitting hairs. I think both of them are really good 3-down backs. And Jacobs can run with a little bit of power. Except if you did bring him in, I think that he would be the 1A to Ty Chandler's 1B. So that's where there could be a little bit of a conflict. A guy where there wouldn't be conflict would be A.J. Dillon. So I'm actually really bullish on this one, where former second-round pick out of Boston College by the stupid Packers, yes, but A.J. Dillon is only 25, 6 foot, 247. Quadzilla is a damn bowling ball. His market value is at 3.5. No problem there. So basically, you're swapping out Madison's contract for what it would have been for A.J. Dillon. And Dillon, a career 2,428 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns, 4.1 yards per carry. Decent receiver, a decent blocker, but never really got the time of day because he was splitting time with Aaron Jones, the only good Aaron in Green Bay those number of years. But Dillon would pair up extremely nicely with what Ty Chandler wants to do. And Dillon can play 3 downs as well. But in terms of just punch you in the face, downhill, and if the Vikings want to incorporate a lot more man and gap, it would be great. Also good at running inside zone. So I think that A.J. Dillon would just be an anvil. Plus, getting him across the river, revenge games twice a year, I would kind of like it. Plus, the price certainly is right. Lastly, also sticking in division, Dante Foreman. The pride of Texas, hook 'em, baby. So Dante Foreman is 27, and 3rd-round pick, 89 overall in 2017. He's had a really interesting career. Bounced around from the Texans to the Panthers to the Bears. He's 6 foot, 235. He is a load to bring down. Got a little speed too. Got a little wiggle for a larger running back. But 2023 Bears. Sort of whatever. Split in time back there. 425 and 4 touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry. Just sort of our forgettable season. But 2022, remember, 2022, after the Panthers had punted on McCaffrey, Foreman came in and was a stud because you remember it was supposed to be Chuba Hubbard, but Foreman took over in 2022 for Carolina, running for 914 and 5 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry. And again, $3 million estimated market value. You're not paying him to be the RB1. He is the RB2. He is going to take up the early down work. He's going to be the hammer in short yardage. So I kind of like it. Where again, I feel like even Derrick Henry, even though Derrick Henry probably should be more complimentary at this point of his career, if you sign him, I mean, he's RB1. And if Josh Jacobs, if you sign him, he's RB1. Basically, if you pay any running back over $8 million a year, he's RB1. But I believe in Ty Chandler. That's why I think Ty Chandler as RB1 with an A.J. Dillon type or with a Dante Foreman type would be fantastic moving forward. But either way, I mean, it's a really interesting free agent class for running backs. Potentially historic. We'll see. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Take a look at the free agent class for the Vikings. For running backs, maybe get involved just a little bit. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.